Hi friends! Welcome to story time, family story time. Today is taking place in my little sister's bedroom because I think it is just so beautiful and so interesting the way that she has decorated it and made it her own. Like she has this mobile that she made. She's got a lot of friends up here, right? She's got some dolls over here. It's a great place. And Torrance, of course, is in New York, right? Torrance lives in New York. And I am in Utah right now. So I'm not even in New York. I'm in Utah, which is a state in the west of the United States. It's very dry here where I am. It's like the desert. But we do have Elsie, the elephant, here. Hi friend. To read with us. And the book we are going to read today is PECK, Architect. It's written by Andrea Beaty and illustrated by David Roberts. Now, do you know what an architect is? Maybe you can guess from looking at the cover. It's someone who designs buildings. But before we get started today, I want to talk about a combination of letters. And it's 4 letters in a row, right? S-T-L-E, right? All together, S-T-L-E. And the sound that it makes, it's not a word by itself, but it's a part of a word that we see a lot. And the sound it makes is sul. Sul. The T is silent. So for example, the word whistle, W-H-I-S-T-L-E. Whistle, like I'm not a very good whistler. Can you whistle? Do you know how? Can you try? That's not bad. What do you think? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Elsie thinks it's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, come back, Elsie. Yeah, so that's one example of the word whistle. Or if you think of wrestle, like when you wrestle with your siblings, or when you see if you have 2 kittens and they like to kind of wrestle, that's W-R-E-S-T-L-E. So we have the S-T-L-E sound again. The sul, like whistle, like wrestle. So today as we're reading, we're going to notice if we see any of these words that have this S-T-L-E chunk in them. So let's go ahead and begin. PECK, Architect. So already we can see we have this special kind of paper, graph paper, which you use for math, for drawing, for design. We've also got a crane for construction and a kitty. Okay, and we can see other tools here, rulers and pencils. And there's Iggy. He's young. He still wears a diaper. Young PECK is an architect and has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. Do you see the diapers? There's the diapers, there's the glue. I also see that some of the diapers are yellow. Good gracious, Ignatius, his mother exclaimed. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized those diapers weren't clean. Ew! Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks. That's not very nice to say, but okay. But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. There's his big sphinx that he built. And look, the cat is laying in the same position as the sphinx. I don't know how happy the neighbors are, but it's pretty impressive for a little kid in diapers. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples, and temples from modeling clay. So we can see this one is built from peaches. This one's built from apples, even some apple slices. This one at the top has some bites in it. And here's this made out of modeling clay. If you look real close, you can see his handprints. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye. and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. Look at all those pancakes. They look like the St. Louis Arch. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a big metal arch in St. Louis. Dear Ig had it made until the 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings, ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. So look, she's throwing out all these books about architecture, about building buildings. And what's Iggy doing? He's building. And I don't know if you can see. What building material is he using? It's little white sticks that come in a box. Do you have a guess? It's chalk, right? Like chalk to write on a blackboard. That might seem severe, but she was sincere. For when she, the teacher, was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height, so like way, way, way high up, in a building so tall it scraped heaven. A skyscraper, we call those. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. So here's his teacher when she was little, and look how high up she is. This is like if you go to the Empire State Building or one of those other skyscrapers in Manhattan and you go to the top, you look down through the window. I'm afraid of heights. I don't like to do that at all. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator eating cheese with a French circus troupe. Look, there they are. They've each got their little wheel of brie. Even the cats have some cheese. And there she is, looking scared. 2 days in an elevator. After that day, it's quite safe to say, she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that, above all, one ought to avoid them. No ifs, ands, or buts. So she had a bad experience when she was young with an architecture building situation, and it kind of soured her for life. And now she's trying to put that on to the next generation, onto the students. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's... What do you think? What do you think? Yeah, I don't think it's fair either. Because just because she had a bad experience doesn't mean architecture is bad for everyone. But we'll see how it goes. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. Remember we talked about that. Look at how high this castle is. So cool. You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howe? And here we have one of those words I talked about. Castle. There's our STLE. Castle. Like whistle, wrestle, castle. No, ma'am, Iggy said. He lowered his head, and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now 2nd grade was a bore. He looks pretty bored, huh? Kind of took all the energy out of him. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, that's math, Miss Greer took the class to Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. And look, you can see that she is so excited, and the kids are mostly excited until we get to Iggy. He's still bummed out because he loves architecture. He wants to be an architect. They crossed an old trestle, this is another one of those words, to a small island nestled, that's another, in the heart of a burbling stream. But no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed. Oh, the bridge fell apart. And Miss Lila Greer started to scream. We're trapped here. Oh my, alas, kids, goodbye. Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound. Luckily fainted, not dead. So there she is. She fainted. There's the kiddos. We've got 2 of these words here, right? Trestle, which is like a small bridge. Trestle, T-R-E-S-T-L-E. And nestled, which has a D on the end because it's past tense, but nestled, Nestle, right? Nestle is like when things are snug together, right? Like when you nestle in bed with your favorite stuffed animal or with your mom or dad. The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man, can you guess who, was off hatching a plan, which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. So we can see all this different work. So taking off shoes, carrying wood, carrying bundles of wood. There's the pile of shoes. They're tying the shoelaces together to make a long string. He's drawing a plan in the dirt and explaining to everyone. And when she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. What do you think he did with the shoelaces and the wood and the plan? That's right. A bridge! She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces. And on the far side, on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Look how proud they are. Oh, they're all so happy. Boots, tree roots and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge on a glorious bridge dangling from shoestring suspension. So you can even see, here's the fruit roll-ups, the candy, the shoestrings and everything, and look. It's a pair of underwear. That's the thing they say we should not mention. It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. And here we can see this, like the Golden Gate Bridge, right? 746 feet high, 4,200 feet across, 4,200 feet across, opened 1937. It's a famous bridge because of the red color. I'll bet you've seen it. Now, every week at Blue River Creek Elementary in 2nd grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker, in t-shirt and sneakers, talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course, he's the guy who builds towers from pie, that brilliant young man, IGGY PECK. And look, he's teaching them all about ancient architecture. We've got here the Empire State Building, we know that one, built in 1931. We've got the Sydney Opera House in Australia. We've got the Leaning Tower of Pisa, Colosseum, so many famous buildings. The end. So, what did we learn? Let's see what Elise thinks. Elsie, excuse me. Sometimes I mess up her name because it's the same letters but in a different order. Elsie, what do you think? Yeah, so she said, follow your dream, follow your passion. IGGY PECK loves architecture. He wants to be an architect, you know? And, I mean, why not? Even when his teacher says no, that it's a bad thing, that's because she had a bad experience. But he had to push through that. He had to be brave and show her that architecture is important. It runs, without it, we wouldn't have bridges. We wouldn't have the Brooklyn Bridge. We wouldn't have the Manhattan Bridge, the Queensboro Bridge, the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, right? Think of how many bridges we have just in New York, right? Or the buildings we have, the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building. So many interesting buildings that people like IGGY PECK create and design. What else did we learn? Elsie, what else did we learn? What words do we remember that we learned? It was 4 special letters at the end of the word, right? S-T-L-E. So we learned castle, that's one, C-A-S-T-L-E. We learned trestle, which is not a very common word that means like a bridge, T-R-E-S-T-L-E. We learned nestle, like Elsie and I, when I go to bed at night, we like to nestle together in the bed. Huh, Elsie? Yeah. N-E-S-T-L-E, not unlike the drink, the Nestle, but just a different pronunciation. And from before we talked about wrestle and whistle. Can you whistle, Elsie? Elsie says she can't. Her trunk's too long. It's got to travel too far. So that's our story for today. Iggy Peck Architect, written by Andrea Beaty and illustrated by David Roberts. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll keep your eyes peeled while you're out there in the world, while you're reading your own books, for more of these STLE words like castle. See if you can notice some others. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Say bye, Elsie. Elsie says bye. Bye.